Hello and welcome back to my channel, Craft Time by Casey. I am Casey, and today these are the holiday bracelets that I will be making. Most of the components came from the latest treasure bag from GGC Beginning Beaders, and the recent treasure bag is called Santa's Treasures. I am super excited with how these bracelets came out. I definitely think they make a very nice holiday pair of bracelets, and the highlighted bead for both of these bracelets are those large round beads with the stars on them. Of course, I used the 5 gold ones in the green and gold bracelet and the 5 silver ones in the silver and red bracelet, and I love the way they came out. So if you would like to see how these bracelets came about, then stay tuned. All right, so let's get right into it and start with the tools that I will be using. I have one set of cutters. I'm going to be using a size 10 beading needle, and I will be using 8-pound Fireline in the color Smoke, which is this black color. And I usually get the 125 yards just so it lasts a little bit longer. I will leave in the description box below my opening video for the Santa's Treasures treasure bag. That way you will have a detailed description of all of the beads that came from the treasure bag. Now, the star of this bracelet will be these beautiful gold beads that have the stars on them. These are going to kind of be the focal beads of this bracelet. Also from the treasure bag, I'm using these emerald green faceted beads. And for my own stash, I'm going to be using these tan/light gold rondelle faceted beads and these 4mm pearls. For my own stash, I will also be using these 6mm round beads. Also from my own stash, the seed beads I will be using. I'm going to be using these check glass seed beads. These are 8-0 in this emerald green color, and I'm going to be using the same color in 11-0 in these Toho seed beads. And then this last one over here, same size, 11-0 Toho seed beads in this gold color. And I will also be using one of the gold toggle clasps that came in the treasure bag. Now, at this point, I have already made the red and silver holiday bracelet. Of course, you already saw this in the intro, but the focal beads on this one were those same star beads, just in the silver color. We are going to be making this bracelet again, just in the green and gold, to be similar to the red and silver. Now, I have already strung my needle with Fireline, and I will say I've started with a wingspan of Fireline, meaning I held it in one hand and pulled it all the way across as far as my hands could outstretch. So to start, we're going to have one of the 6mm rounds and 2 8-0 seed beads. And we're going to pull this all the way down to the other end. And you only need to have enough space on the other end to tie a knot. I am holding it like this, and I'm going to skip those 2 8-0 seed beads and go back through that 6-0 and just pull it through. So once you get here, you want to kind of work it where they're going to be side by side. So they're going to be like that. You see that thread going across the two of them right there, and it's just got 2 8-0s side by side on top of it. And you have your working thread and your tail coming out of the other end. So I pick up 2 more 8-0 seed beads. I'm going to go back up through the 6-0 and through one of those 8-0 seed beads and pull it through. And now you can just kind of push everything into place. You're going to do the same thing over here you did before, where you line them up side by side. And it's always really small in the beginning. So here's what you have right now. You have 2 8-0 seed beads on either side, and then you have the thread coming out of one of the first 2 that you added. So now you're going to go back through the other 8-0 seed bead and back through the 6-0. Only this time, when you get over here, you need to avoid the 8-0s on this side. Pull it through. All right, so here's what we have right now. And what we're gonna do is tie the tail and the working thread in a knot. And you do want to make sure on this side that you are not coming out of one of the 8/0s. You want to make sure you're coming out of that 6mm round, just like the tail is. And I'm going to do that one more time. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut off that tail. I'm going to get as close as I can with my cutters and just cut that tail off, just like that. All right, so here's what we have. We have the one working thread that's currently coming out of the 6mm round. All right, so now we're gonna put the clasp, one side of the clasp on this side here, and then we're gonna start working our way the other way. So I'm coming out of the 6mm round, and I'm gonna go up through that 8/0. All right, so now I'm coming out of that 8/0, and now we're gonna put on the clasp. So I'm gonna have 2 11/0s, 1 8/0, and then one other 11/0. And I'm gonna put it through the hole in the clasp, in the loop, and go all the way down. So now I'm gonna put it back through just the 11/0 at the top and that 8/0 and hold it and pull it all the way through. So now we're coming out of that 8/0 at the top and it looks like that. So I'm picking up 2 more 11/0s and I'm gonna go through the 8/0 that's around the 6mm and then pull it through, just like that. So now we want to secure it and go through it a couple times. I'm going to go through that 6mm, through the 8/0 on the opposite side, back through the opposite 8/0. Then I'm going to go through the 6mm and see how many I can go through that 8/0, through those 2 11/0s and pull it through. And I'm going to finish my way back around. So I'm going to go through the 8/0 at the top and through that last 11/0. And now I'm going to go through that loop. And I don't want to get it twisted because I don't want to kind of forget which side I'm going through. So through that loop. So I just came up this side and now I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to go back down this side through that 11/0, 8/0, 2 11/0s, back down the 8/0, just like that. Okay, that's gone through the clasp, securing it 2 times. Now, I would wait. I'm going to secure it one more time, but I'm going to do that on my last time through once I'm doing, if I pull this one back in, I go through one last time to do the embellishments on the outside, and then I will get that 3rd time through the clasp. So for right now, I'm just gonna leave it at 2. So I'm coming out of that 8/0 at the bottom of the clasp end. I'm gonna go through that 6mm, come out. And right now I'm only coming out of the 6mm. I'm not coming out of the 8/0, so I wanna make sure I am coming out of the 8/0. All right, so here's the end of the bracelet. So now here is where it does get repetitive as far as the instructions. So we'll do the first few beads together and then we'll meet back up on the other end once we get it the length that we want it to be. So here's how we add each individual bead. All right, so I'm currently coming out of the 8/0 right there, and I have picked up one of the faceted emerald beads and then 2 more 8/0s. So I'm gonna pull these down just like this, and then I'm gonna go back through. I'm going to skip the 8/0s and go back through the faceted round and then back through one of those 8/0s that's already attached to the other one and then pull that through. And then, like I said, you want to finagle it where they kind of lay flat. And currently you're coming down through this one 8/0. So I'm going to go back up through the other one, through the emerald. So I'm going back up through the opposite 8/0, through the larger emerald. Now I'm coming out of just the faceted green one, so I'm going to go back up through the 8/0. And now we've added that one. And I don't think it is necessary to go back around. You can if you would like, but we're going to go back through the whole thing 2 times to add all the embellishments. So I think in my opinion, that's going to be strong enough, especially when you add, like I said, the other trips through. So for right now, I'm just going to go through one time. So that's how you're going to add each bead, so that there's 2 8/0 seed beads side by side, but we'll add one more together. So I have one of the star beads, and then same thing, 2 more 8/0s. I'm going to push it all the way down, just like that. And I'm going to skip the 8/0s and go back through. Now for this one, you can see the thread is coming out of this one. So I want to go into the opposite 8/0 when I'm adding each bead. You want to go into the opposite one the thread is coming out. And finagle the 2 on top to get them side by side, just like that. And you can see us coming down through this 8/0. We're going to go up through that opposite one, back through the star bead, up through the top, just like this. And then I'm coming out of the star bead, so I want to be coming out of one of the 8/0s, just like that. So there you go. So that is how you add every bead all the way across. Again, you can see the 2 8/0 red seed beads all the way across in between every bead till we get to the center component, which we'll meet back up for that. And then again, the 8/0 seed beads in between each one. If you need it again to show how to add a bead, you can certainly back the video up and you add each bead the exact same way. But now we're going to add all the beads for this side, and we will meet back up when we get to the center component. All right, so I have added everything on this side. Like I said, every bead is added the same way as far as adding the 2 8/0s and then going back through. Now I'm coming out of the 8/0 on the last one I just added, and I'm going to add the center component. So I'm going to show you here on this red one, the center component, it's actually added the same way, but there's just no 8/0s in between the center component. So it's added as one thing with the 2 8/0s on the other side. So here is the center component, those tan gold beads, and then I have 2 4mm pearls on either side of that gold star bead. I'm going to push it all the way down. So currently it's just right there in the center. Then I'm going to add 2 8/0s. So this is what it looks like. And then same as if I was adding one, I'm going to skip the 2 8/0s and go back through the entire center component. And then I'm going to go through the opposite 8/0 that the string is coming out of, right there. And then I'm going to hold it and pull it all the way through. I'm going to go up here and finagle those 2 8/0s, make sure they're stacked side by side, just like that. Pull it kind of snug, and I'm coming out of this 8/0 right here. I'm gonna go back up the other 8/0, and then back through that center component. You wanna make sure you don't miss any of the beads as you're going back through. And pull it up, and there you have it, the center component. And now, of course, I'm coming out of that tan bead right there. So I want to go back up the 8/0, and there it is. So now I've added that center component, and now I'm going to create this exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to proceed to add one bead at a time, just like I did on this side, so that each one has 2 8/0s in between, just like this side. So now we will meet back up when we're at the opposite end to put on the other end of the clasp. All right, so here's the entire bracelet as far as the length goes. Of course, we're still adding the embellishments, but right now we are going to add the other end of the clasp. It's going to be very similar to this. So I am coming out of the 8/0 here at the end on the last bead that I just added. All right, so I have 2 11/0s, 1 8/0, and 1 11/0. And I'm gonna put it through the opposite loop, the loop in the bar of the clasp. And then on the other side, I'm going to go through just the top 11-0 and 8-0. And then pull it through. So right now it's looking like that. And then I have the other two 11-0s, and I'm going to go through the opposite 8-0 and through the 6mm round. Pull it through, and then through the 8-0 here, and I'm going to work my way back around through the 8-0, back up the opposite 8-0, and then I'm going to go up the 6mm round, and then I'm going to make one more circuit. So there is the other end of the clasp right there. So now the bracelet, the length of it is done. It is right at 8 inches, which is where I like my bracelets to be, because I like my bracelets to be 7.5. And when the clasps come together, the length of it'll be about 7.5 because of the toggle clasp. So now we're going to add the embellishments. I'm coming down out of this 8-0 right here, and for each gold round, I'm gonna add the green embellishments, and for every green one, we're gonna add the gold. So I'm picking up 4 11-0s, and from this 8-0, I'm just gonna go down to the next 8-0, just like that. And then on this one, I'm gonna add 4 gold 11-0s, and I'm gonna go into the next. And when I go into this 8-0, I'm gonna go through the one with the stars, just like that. Now, none of the beads with the stars are gonna have the embellishments around the sides. You see, like in this one, they are the bead that kind of stands alone. So we're gonna do this all the way down. We'll go through this 8-0, and I'm gonna pick up 4 of the gold ones and go through the 8-0 at the bottom, just like that. And then 4 green ones. All right, so I have 4 green ones. And on this one, I'm gonna go through. All right, so here we have the embellishments on those 2. We're gonna do those all the way down. You're gonna go through the star beads, through the center component, and then only put it around the green and gold beads, just like these right here. We'll meet you at the other end. All right, so I'm gonna come back in here. I am now at the center component. So I'm gonna go straight through that entire center component, no embellishments. And then once I get to the other side, I'm gonna go through that 8-0 and then continue the embellishments down this side. All right, so now we're on the opposite end, and I've just picked up 4 11-0s, the last embellishment for this round down here. And what I'm gonna do is do that last way through the end, just like I said before, that third time through to secure it. So I'm gonna go through that last 8-0, and then through these 11-0s, all the way through that last one. And that'll put on that last embellishment. And now I'm gonna go through the loop, flip it, and come back down the other side. So right now I have it through that 11-0 at the top, and then the first 8-0, I'm gonna go ahead and put it through. And then those last 2 11-0s and that 8-0. So now that end has 3 times through, it's pretty secure. And now we're gonna go down through all of the opposite sides of these rounds. So again, no embellishments on the stars, on the star beads, no embellishment on that center. We're just gonna go down through the opposite 8-0s. So now we'll do this one, we'll do a couple together. So I picked up 4 11-0s, I'm gonna go through the opposite 8-0, 4 of the gold ones, opposite 8-0, and this time I'm gonna go through that star bead, out that 8-0, and we're gonna go just like that all the way down, and we'll meet back up at the end. All right, so I'm at the opposite end. I have my last 4 11-0s. I'm going to connect it to the 8-0 there at the top, the opposite 8-0, and then pull it through. So now I have the completed embellishments all the way down. So now we just have to tie it off. So I'm gonna go down the opposite 8-0 and then around these one more time, just this one embellishment. And then you can genuinely tie it off anywhere. I'm gonna tie it off right here. I'm going to go through this point right here, right next to the bead, get it where I have a loop, go through the loop with my needle, and then that ties that knot. And of course, I've got to do that one more time. Right there. So now I'm going to get my cutters, get as close as I can, cut off that thread. And then here is our green and gold holiday bracelet. So I think these are beautiful. I think they go really well together. They could definitely be stacked for a holiday bracelet. So here we go. Here are my two holiday bracelets with those absolutely beautiful star beads. And I think these came out super nice. Got the toggle clasp there on the back. So I'm gonna put these up on my display so that we can see them better. All right, so here they are, and I love them. I'm so excited with how they came out. Very simple design, and it just really highlights those star beads. And once again, most of the beads came from GGC Beginning Beaders' most recent treasure bag, and I will have all of the information linked down below, including the opening video, so you will have a detailed description of each one of these beads. And if you are interested in purchasing one of her treasure bags, then I just highly recommend it. The notification sign up will be in the description box below. And if you sign up for that, you will make sure that you will know as soon as she releases her next bag. So if you like this video and you want to see other videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give me a like. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your opinion of these bracelets. I absolutely love reading my comments. You guys are so kind, and I definitely look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.